Hi guys, this time we'll see how easy it is to debug a JavaScript application directly within our browser. For this I've chosen Google Chrome, and by pressing F12 you see the DevTools are opening, so we can inspect our code, and this is our code, this is our rendered page. So far for the code, we'll open Visual Studio to see what it has. So we have two inputs. One is our main input, then we have one submit button, and we're loading up our JavaScript file. Inside of the JavaScript file we have one variable, one function which increases this parameter with 1, and we have one event handler. So whenever we click on the button, first we'll be stopping the submission of the form if we had such, and then we are grabbing the value that the user has typed inside of this my input via the document query selector, and when we have it, we run this function add. We increase this value with 1 here, and we save everything inside of this global variable I. Okay, this is just a simple program just to demonstrate how to use the debug tools. So again, we are in Chrome, and here if we go to our submit button and click on inspect, we see that we have styles, computed, and event listeners. If we click on event listeners, we see that we have a click event. This means that the browser is waiting for this click input to happen, and we see what kind of functions are attached to this click event. So far we have only one, and we can trace it to our main.js file. If we click here on main.js, we can see that actually we are inside of our JavaScript file. One nice thing to notice is that from here we can click from add folder, and since we are in our folder called desktop debug, we'll open this folder here, and actually we can modify our code. For example, here we can console log something to the user, and we see that here the code is modified. If you click Ctrl and S, we can save the code, and now when we refresh and go to the console and type something, we see our console log is working. So directly we can modify our code. No need to go back to Visual Studio Code, modify, and then again refresh. So we can use this DevTools as our environment for debugging. So now let's say that we would like to trace what's inside of this variable I. We go here on the right, and inside of the watch we just click on the plus and just type the variable I, and as we see directly, this is the previous value what we have inside. So if we type something like TMP here and click on submit and here refresh, we see that inside of I we have a value. This way we can very easily type certain variables which we would like to track from our code here. For example, here my input, and they'll be tracked automatically by the debugger. Another nice thing to see is that we can put breakpoints. So let's say that here before the console log we click on its left side, and this is how we place one breakpoint. This means that when we refresh our web page with F5, this code below will not be executed, and we are stopping on before the execution of this line here. So if we see on the console we haven't received even hi, and we can run the code step by step from this point on. Okay, as you know, this function will run only when the event handler detects a click. So let's click, and we see that we are stopped in line 8. If we click again on this button here, we see that we are on line 11, or this is our next breakpoint, and we can see how the input has changed in the meantime. Okay, if we again resume the script execution, since we don't have breakpoints, the program will continue to run as normally. We can again refresh our code and click on the button, and this time we would like to go inside of this function line by line. So for this we will use this step into next function call, and as we can see, we can trace our lines one by one with this. It's also very useful for debugging. We saw that we are invoking the add function, and again, instead of just keeping it like before, we entered inside of the function body and we can inspect the parameters. So basically that's how you debug code in JavaScript. Once again, here you can see all the source files we would like to debug, and you can edit them directly by first inspection of the elements we are interested in. And thank you for watching.